Relentless Reds at the moment. And it comes for Jadon Sancho. Still Sancho. Cool as you like. Done with ice in his veins. And it's no more than Manchester United deserve. And Liverpool are 1-0 down again. Gained by Martial and Rashford. Played in against Alisson here. Marcus Rashford scores. The classic counter-attack. Rashford built his reputation on it.
First goal in 18 appearances for Marcus Rashford. Jadon Sancho's first since March. It was that kind of night for Manchester United, who managed to hold on despite Liverpool's late threat to come back into this game. And Erik ten Hag has his first victory as Manchester United manager.
The agenda set by a very young Manchester United starting 11. Two young English goal scorers. And it was enough to deal with a late Liverpool rally. The final score in this always classic encounter, it is Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1.
And what a noise. It's been a cauldron here at Old Trafford this evening. We said right at the start of the night there was a crackle in the air and there was a crackle on the pitch as well. Roy Keane, how would you describe that 90 minutes?
I think a brilliant team performance. That's what the club needed, the players needed it, the manager needed it. To beat Liverpool 2-1 and deservedly so. Okay, it was a nervous last 10 minutes, but United, outstanding. And as a team, out of possession, in possession, showed great quality. Great night for the club.
Have we seen something different from Manchester United that we've not seen for a long while, certainly?
Well, before the game, the manager made some big calls. He made some changes, leaving out Maguire, which is a huge call, obviously Ronaldo, and the players responded. They were excellent, played with great quality, great commitment, great desire, and that's what you want from any football player, particularly from Manchester United. They've been criticised recently, and rightly so. But tonight, they deserve all the plaudits because they're outstanding.
Could this be lift-off for the Erik ten Hag era?
Well, you hope so. Listen, the manager and the staff will be feeling a lot better tonight, and the players, of course, the fans are buzzing. Big boost for the manager.
We saw big changes. We saw one or two players who've been here. It felt like the shirt was hanging heavy on one or two last season. Different tonight.
Well, do you know what? There was a good vibe, good energy before the game. We felt it. Okay, if they conceded the first goal, it could have got a bit nasty, but it was good atmosphere, good energy, and I think the team felt it off the crowd, and obviously they gave the crowd something to shout about. The first goal was huge, and after that, they just played with great strength. And what I like tonight about United's performance, they played as a team. They really did. We know they've got very good individuals, but defensively, I thought midfield was outstanding. Go forward, they looked dangerous, and they could have scored a few more goals again. They made it nervous towards the end, but they deserved the victory, and a big boost for the players.
Will they also take strength from the way they managed to hang on in the end when it looked a little bit edgy?
Yeah, that was a different test for them. You're 2-0, but when we were watching, I just thought if Liverpool get one, it will be a nervous last few minutes, but they kind of kept their concentration well the last few minutes, and they saw it out well. Again, that's a different challenge, but overall, you can't praise them highly enough. I thought they were outstanding.
We're here till 11 o'clock tonight. We will bring you all the analysis and reaction from Old Trafford. You won't want to miss it. It's actually been a cracking Premier League weekend, hasn't it? We're only 3 weeks in. We saw Arsenal winning 3-0 at Bournemouth on Saturday night, the only side with 3 wins out of 3. Palace getting off the mark. Their first victory came against Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa. Everton's first point of the season came against Nottingham Forest. Fulham's first victory back in the Premier League in the derby against Brentford. Southampton with their first win of the season against struggling Leicester City, and Spurs with back-to-back home wins, this time against Wolves. And then on Sunday, what a super Sunday it was, starting at Ellen Road with Leeds stunning Chelsea by 3-0, and Manchester City shell-shocked up at St James's Park. They managed to come back to take a point in that thrilling 3-3 draw. And Brighton continuing their brilliant start to the season to leave West Ham pointless. Tonight, Manchester United with their first victory of the season, their first under Erik ten Hag. Liverpool still to win. You can see all of the action, all of those goals by scanning that QR code. It'll take you straight to the Sky Sports app. So this is how it leaves us after 3 games. Manchester United do leapfrog Liverpool up into 14th place with their first points of the season. Such a disappointing start for Liverpool. Just 2 points on the board from their first 3. Already they're 5 points behind Manchester City and 7 behind leaders Arsenal, the only team taking maximum points from the first 3 games.
Marcus, Jaden, we can hear what it means to the crowd. What did that mean to the United players?
Yeah, it means a lot. As you can see, our first 2 games didn't go so well, so we knew today was a big game and we have to turn that around today.
How much do you think you needed that on many levels, Marcus?
Yeah, it's obviously a massive game for the club. I've always said, regardless of the circumstances that you're in, a game against Liverpool is massive, and no matter what circumstances you're in. So to get the win today is massive, and like Jaden said, we've not done so well starting the season, so it's good to pick up the first 3 points.
It was a million miles from the first 2 performances of the season. What was the difference tonight?
To be honest, I think just energy. We started the game at a higher tempo, and we was tired towards the end, but we kept going and we just stuck at it. They got a goal back and we didn't fold. We kept defending well. And it was an enjoyable game to play in.
Jaden, going into the game tonight, how much were the players burning after what happened last week? How much of that superb performance was based on a poor performance last week?
Yeah, obviously last week hurt a lot, so we knew we had to bounce back, and tonight we showed the fans what we can do, and we just have to carry on this momentum, and hopefully next week we get another win.
You showed tremendous composure with your goal. How were you so aware of how much time you had?
To be fair, I didn't realise how much time I had, but once I chopped the defender, I just knew I had to compose myself to finish. So I'm happy I scored.
Marcus, was that vintage your goal, in behind?
Yeah, it was a goal that I've scored quite regularly. So important for me to get them types of goals. And yeah, I felt I was in good areas today, good positions. On another day, I could have had a few more goals. So just keep going, keep working hard, and focus on the next game.
It clearly worked. Tell us about the manager's tactical switch at half-time when he pushed you out to that left side.
I think, it's just the versatility that we have in the team. We can do many different things, especially in attack. So, the game was going well. We were in the first half. We was attacking some good spaces, but we weren't quite getting the end product that I felt we deserved in the first half. In the second half, probably slightly less clear-cut chances, but we done better with them. And for us to be able to switch and chop and change positions like that is always a positive.
Jaden, a very welcome 3 points, first win of the season, but how important as well the manner of the victory tonight?
No, it means a lot to all of us. You can see how the fans reacted, and we knew it was a big game today. So we're just happy that we got the 3 points, but it's not over. We're on to the next game and focused till then.
Is it important as well, though? It gives you all belief that you're all united as one. It's a new manager. It's a transitional period in many ways. But if you can produce performances like that, you're going in the right direction.
For sure. We just have to produce like what we've done today every single game. So, again, we're on to the next game. Happy that we got the 3 points, and we move on.
Congratulations, guys. Well done.
Thank you very much.
A couple of very happy Manchester United players. We're delighted to be joined by the Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag. Before we get into the technical aspects of tonight's game, can you actually, to what's been a difficult start for you, sum up your emotions right now?
We can talk about tactical, but it's all about attitude. And now you see, we bring the attitude on the pitch. There was communication, there was a fighting spirit, and especially there was team. And then you can see what they can achieve because they can fucking good play football.
You had 9 days. Sorry, apologise for a language if there was a little F-bomb dropped in there.
Sorry.
Do apologise for that.
I quite enjoyed it.
I wasn't sure if it was lost in translation, Erik. I do apologise. You had 9 days to prepare for this game, but did you expect that kind of reaction from the Brentford game?
I wanted a different approach. I wanted a different attitude, and that is what they bring on the pitch, and that's what makes me satisfied. But it's only a start. We have to keep humble. I think we can play much better if we have a little bit more composure, give an extra pass. We can much more dangerous, because what I say, we have good players, but now be a team, be a good spirit, and then you will act. And that is what we saw today in moments, but also when you have to make the game, you have to be better on the ball.
Erik, specifically, you mentioned attitude, fighting spirit. It was absolutely amazing to watch. But what actually have you done during the week, and what have you said to the players?
It's not always about what we said. What I said to them, we have to act, not to talk a lot, just to act and make sure you are a team and battle. and also be brave. Give each other options when we have the ball. So it's not only about spirit. When we out of possession, yes, we want to press. And sometimes I think strikers that they cannot do it because they have to save the energy for their offensive actions. In nowadays football, both is a demand. You have to bring it on the pitch. Out of possession, and then you can be a threat in possession. And that is what you saw. It makes me happy that Rashford and Jadon Sancho make the goals.
You gave the captaincy to Bruno Fernandes. Do you think that was the biggest difference in his performance tonight? Because he was absolutely sensational from minute 1 to 90, never stopped working.
I think he took the responsibility, and I think it encouraged him, the captaincy, and I think he showed leadership together with Rafa Varane. I think definitely on the pitch they make a huge difference, but that is what they have to bring, and I think it's not only them two. I think we need more leaders. When you want to get a winning team, you need more leaders, and you need the spirit what we showed today.
And what they showed tonight, obviously the players earned the right to play. Sometimes you think the team turns up and they think they can just play their nice football, but they've got to earn their right, and they've done that tonight with their tackling, as you said, with the spirit, with their energy. They gave everyone a boost, and you must be over the moon with it.
I was happy with it, but they have to bring it every game, and not in only one game. Of course, we are happy. I know the rivalry against Liverpool, but don't bring it only against Liverpool. Every Premier League game is difficult, is heavy, so you have to bring it in every game. This organization and this intensity, and it starts once again with the spirit.
Eric, the intensity was too much for Liverpool to cope with throughout the game. So you talk about you need that spirit every game, but sort of what you did almost tactically, some of the decisions in the game. Obviously, David De Gea went long with every ball. You picked 3 strikers who had pace to run behind. There's obviously a lot of input and thought tactically for the game as well.
Yeah, of course, tactical is also a part of it, and of course you see where can you have weapons in the game, and yeah, we play on speed in front. That's quite clear. And also I want to have with Christian Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes. We have playing midfield. They can give a pass, and together with Scott McTominay, I must say he played also a magnificent game. They were really good in the midfield, was good in balance, and then you can hurt an opponent, and I think we can do it of possession, out of building up, but also in the transition, and definitely we play on the transition today.
I asked you about Martinez when we did the interview a few days ago. He was out excellent tonight. What do you think about his performance in terms of coming up against a top quality team, but a team who played slightly different, maybe trying to play through the lines and play in behind? He dealt with it fantastically well.
Yeah, I saw the same, but I know he can do both. He is for a defender. His skills, his technical skills are quite good, and his fighting spirit is there, and also his positioning and his battling over the ground, but also in aerial. He's not the tallest, but he has a good timing.
You made big selection decisions as well this evening, Eric, leaving out Harry Maguire, who you made the captain, or you kept as captain in the summer, and also Cristiano Ronaldo. Can I ask how difficult those decisions were to make and how those players reacted to the news?
Personal is always difficult, but I have the decisions to make. Once I will say I have a squad, and we have to use the squad, and we play 50, 60 games, and so we will, from game to game, we will see what team we have to pick. And I don't have to mention Harry Maguire and Ronaldo are amazing players, and they will play a role in the future as well, and in the short future as well.
And can you tell us how important Casemiro is going to be for you? We saw him here this evening watching.
We were talking about leadership, and today we had leadership on the pitch, but he is the one as well. He knows the game, he knows how to win. So he, in his career, he wins so many trophies. And that's important to have that in your team. Rafa Varane has it. So with him, with Casemiro, we have another one. Ronaldo has it. So you need some. There's like a guidance for young players who didn't achieve till now the trophies, but that is what we want to achieve. So I hope their presence will be a huge stimulation to the rest.
It's a big signing for the club. The transfer window is still open. Ideally, how many more would you like to bring here?
You can never tell. And we said from the beginning we want to bring the right players in, and not any players. I think now again we have the right player. I'm convinced of that. And yeah, the window is not closed. You know, and you see, you need numbers, but not only numbers, you need quality. And they give so much. And I think when you bring it on the pitch, you will get stronger physically, mentally. But if you have to bring it every 3 days, you need, especially in front, you need numbers, quality numbers.
Eric, good luck with it, and thank you so much for joining us tonight, and go and enjoy the victory. Congratulations.
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The language is coming on beautifully as well, and the industrial language. Thank you. Eric, thank you very much. Just give us an idea, Gary, from your perspective, what an impact he's been able to have over the last 9 days on that group.
I'm absolutely stunned, to be honest with you, Dave. I didn't think that was possible tonight, what I saw in terms of response, because I thought that the players had sort of cemented what they do week in, week out now over many months of the end of last season, the start of this season. So what's happened this week, I don't know, but they've responded. Maybe the slight changes in personnel, making brave decisions. Obviously, you know, the captain, the star player have both been left on the bench, which means the manager just gains a little bit of gravitas maybe with other players. I think Bruno has responded. I think that obviously Martinez at the back has played well alongside Varane. I don't know what it is, but I can't believe what I've just witnessed. I mean, Liverpool weren't at the best, let's be really clear, but they weren't at the best against Crystal Palace and Fulham. But it was just the effort difference that we saw from Manchester United. They've outrun Liverpool, they've out-sprinted Liverpool, and we've questioned that a number of times on this show over the last sort of 12 months that they're not capable of doing it, and they've shown tonight they are capable of doing it.
Is that the biggest surprise, Jamie? I mean, we'll come on to what happened to Liverpool tonight, but in terms of Manchester United, from where they were against Brentford.
Yes, I mean, listen, we said it throughout commentary, they're outstanding. You could feel it in I think the first 30 seconds. Bruno Fernandes sprints at sort of Alisson. You could feel it was going to be that type of the game. And the disappointment for me was that Liverpool weren't ready for a derby game. And that for me is unforgivable. I mean, I absolutely love this team, what they've done over the last 4 or 5 years, and you can very rarely throw that at them. But it's happened too often this season. In the first 3 league games, it's happened twice where they don't look ready for a game, and that's something I think that we're worrying sort of Jurgen Klopp right now. What I would say, and listen, I thought Manchester United were brilliant, but tonight was a different game than what they had in the first 2 games, where they had 70% of the ball, and the other team did to United what they've done to Liverpool tonight, where they've looked intense, the running stats. But when you have 70% of the ball, as United did, the opposition are normally going to run more than you have more sprints than you. So the games will be different coming forward, but in terms of intensity, their attitude that the managers asked for, it was night and day compared to Liverpool.
He brushed off my question, Roy, on emotions tonight, Eric Ten Hag, but how much strength will he take from those big decisions, those big calls, actually paying off?
Oh, it's a huge boost for him. Because, again, there is question marks. He's trying to win the players over. He's made some big calls tonight, playing home to Liverpool. It's on the TV. He knows it's a huge atmosphere. And he wins the game. It's the best feeling in the world when you win a game of football. You go into the training ground tomorrow, the manager, the players, the staff, everyone in the canteen will just give everyone a lift, that bit of energy. The feel-good factor will be back at the club for a few days anyway until the next game. They obviously have to back it up, like he said. It's no good just doing it once every few weeks, not when you play for Man United. So I think it's a big boost for him and the staff and the players. And as I said, there's only benefits from winning football matches.
And it's a building block, isn't it? It's the first building block. But Jamie's saying it's a very different challenge, playing a team like Liverpool to playing teams that are going to let you have the ball.
Now that can't be a one-off. That's the standard that they've now set, that we've all seen it. You know, hundreds of millions of people around the world will watch that game over the next few days in terms of the work ethic, the amount they've run. I think it was 12k more than they ran last weekend, something like that.
They were 13 down on the opposition last week, and they were 2 kilometres above them this week.
Yeah, but they've run a lot more tonight than they have done previously. So they've set themselves a standard and also played some decent football along the way. And I have to say that tonight also it demonstrated that Eric Ten Hag doesn't have to come here. I mean, obviously in certain games he will dominate possession, but he doesn't have to dominate possession in every single match. He can play on the counter-attack, which they've done tonight successfully. But I think it's really important. Look, I think Manchester United teams that have done well have always had legs up front, players who can run, players who can stretch the legs and run the length of the pitch and counter-attack. Tonight Manchester United had that. And they had a back four that were tenacious. The boy Melissa at left-back, I saw a little bit of it against Brentford. A little bit of fight, a little bit of tenacity, a little bit of spirit. He brought that against Brentford, and he's brought it tonight in abundance. And everybody else then just gets a buzz off it. The crowd were cheering after 2 or 3 minutes because of tackles, not because of goals, not because of brilliant passes, because of tackles and effort. And that's probably a sad indictment of where Manchester United have been, but you've seen the response that they can get from this crowd. Obviously, it was a crowd that tonight could have gone moody. They were under great pressure, those Manchester United
I think you
players.
felt at the start of the game, United were on a precipice, weren't they, here tonight?
Honestly,
could have gone either way.
They were under massive pressure tonight, those Manchester United players. You know, it would have turned in here. It would have been awful if Liverpool go 1-2 up in that first 20 minutes. So for them to respond to what they did last week is a big, big moment for Erik ten Hag and the players. Doesn't take away the pressure from the owners. They still need to go, by the way. But the players and the manager and the coach, I think, have done a job
Gary,
tonight, which shows that they're committed.
They did bring that pressure on themselves. Let's not forget how bad they've been. It's not as if we were too harsh on them over the last few weeks. They've been abysmal. They deserve that criticism. But tonight, they've turned up for Man United and put in a performance. You go, yeah, listen, well done, but you got to get the balance right. The key is now to back it up over the weekend.
We'll bring you analysis. We'll show you the goals again in just a moment. Let's bring you some Liverpool reaction right now. Andy Robertson is with Emma Saunders.
Andrew, not the result you would have wanted, but how do you sum up that performance?
Yeah, obviously not great. You know, it's definitely not been the start of the season we wanted. It's been really poor. You know, we give every team a goal start, which that's the base of the game. You can't keep on giving yourself an uphill battle. We've conceded an early goal again. We've started slow again, and that's what needs to change. You know, you can't keep on going behind, especially, you know, probably in the warm-up and everything. It's the quietest that I've ever heard this stadium. Do you know what I mean? They wanted something to lift them, and we unfortunately gave them it. And then obviously they got behind their team, and the players reacted, and you end up finding yourself 1-0 down. We start the second half slow again. You find yourself 2-0 down. Then you start to find your rhythm. We start creating chances. We score a goal, and you know, and then you know we try and make them a wee bit nervous, but we didn't. To be fair, they seen the game out well. So, like I said, 2 points from 9 is not the start that we wanted. We need to pick our performances up individually and collectively very quickly, and you know we need to kickstart our season. That's for sure.
You say there about a slow start again. Can you put your finger on why so?
No, but we need to very quickly. You know, we need to come together. We need to address it as a team, because we can't keep on going out there, and it's easy talking about it in the changing room. It's easy talking about it before the game, but we have to go out and do it. We can't keep conceding goals. We have to be a team that starts the game well, that puts pressure on the other team, not the other way about. And you know, that's 3 games this season now. Maybe Crystal Palace a wee bit different. We started really well there and then get hit with a sucker punch, but Fulham started better than us. You know, they definitely started better than us today. Even when you go back to the end of last season, Wolves, Real Madrid, teams like that, Southampton, you know, that was the back end of last season already kicked in. So it needs to change. We can't, like I said, in this league against good teams, you can't keep giving them a goal start, and just now, unfortunately, that's what we're doing.
I can hear the frustration in your voice. You could see it on the pitch as well. There were some quite heated discussions going on between James Milner, Virgil van Dijk. What was going through your head, especially after that first goal was conceded?
It was, we need to get our fingers out very quickly. You know, and I think we did calm down near the end of the first half. I thought the last 10-15 minutes we started playing the football we wanted to play, started creating chances. You look to carry that into the second half, but we start the second half, you know, slow again. And look, it's of course we're frustrated. We're a team that want to win games, and just now it's not happening. But it's so important that we stick together. You know, the team is tight. We're a really close unit, and obviously things need to be said. But also we need to stick together, and we're all in it together. And you know, things will get better. I do believe that, but it needs to start quickly, because, like you said, you know, it's not been the start we wanted. We're far behind where we want to be, and you know, in this league, it's very unforgiving. So we need to get results quickly. We need to start kicking into gear, and if we do that, then I'm sure we'll look back on this, and that's what kick-started it. But you know, we need our first 3 points, that's for sure.
How do you now describe this task ahead as far as the title race is concerned? I appreciate we're still pretty early on in the season, but
look, it's early on in the season, but you know, even if we were at the top of the league, we wouldn't be thinking about the title race. Do you know what I mean? We've always been consistent in that every season. You don't really think about it until you know you get closer to where you can see everyone at. The start of the season's always a bit messy, where you know, you just try and find your feet. This season we haven't done it, and yeah, we're not thinking about that. We need to get our first win on the board. We need to try and get our first win. We need to try and get ahead in the first game and try and put in a good performance, get our first clean sheet, and get back to our basics. And if we do that, that's the only way we win games. That's as simple as that. We've always been a hard-working team. We've always been honest. We've always been passionate. We need to keep doing that, but we also need to be clinical in both boxes. And if we do that, I believe the results will come, but they need to become quickly.
Well, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honest opinions of Andy Robertson as ever. Jamie, how worrying is it? Not just tonight, but on the back of Fulham first weekend and dropping points as well at the first home game against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could almost not dismiss the first 2 games, but, you know, Fulham, a newly promoted team, Liverpool win at the races. They've done really well against City the week before. Liverpool played well against Palace. They were unlucky, went down to 10 men, still dominated the game with 10 men. It was one of those games that they should have probably won. Today is a big worry. Not the result. You can come to Manchester United and lose. It's a tough place to come. But it was the manner of the way they started the game, a derby game. You know, away, whether it's Goodison or Old Trafford, you always know there's going to be a little bit of need, there's an extra bit on it. Manchester United, it was obvious how they were going to start the game. They had to start the first 15, 20 minutes like their lives depended on it and get this crowd involved, and they did. And it was like Liverpool weren't ready. Now, at the moment when you're watching Liverpool, obviously it was the first time they've lost in about 20 league games. So
first time in 2022, unbelievable.
Yeah, but there is a little pattern, even going back to Fulham, even like the Champions League final, where a lot of teams are going, well, OK, we're not going to play out from the back, so we'll let you press us. And when you get the ball, we're going to drop off, and we'll try to hit you on the counter-attack. So Liverpool find it very difficult to break teams down when everyone's in front of them. And every time Liverpool play a game of football, and I know Liverpool have been amazing, and people say it's the thing you've got to accept that someone runs through on the goal every time. But I'm a centre-back, and I didn't play on the halfway line the way, you know, teams do now. But when someone runs through at your goal every single game, something can't be right. I've never thought it was right. It doesn't happen to Man City. And so every time Liverpool play a game of football, they get hit on the counter-attack and someone runs through on goal. And it's just whether Alisson can save it or not. Tonight he couldn't. So there's 3 or 4 things how Liverpool play and how teams are now doing the opposite to try and negate them, to stop them. And Liverpool are finding it really difficult at the moment.
I think they've got enough credit in the bank, this group of players and this manager. And the fact they've got 6 players missing, Matip, Konate, Keita, Thiago, Nunez and Jota. I think they've got enough credit in the bank for us to go easy on them because, look, that game you can lose in any season. It can happen. I'm surprised that Manchester United have done what they've done tonight. You know, they should have beaten Crystal Palace on Monday. They were unlucky, and then Fulham got caught them out on the first game. The problem is, because of the standards that Manchester City have set and Liverpool have set over this last few years, you end up thinking it's a real worry because of the bigger picture. Ordinarily, in any normal decade, that wouldn't be a sort of, you know, picking up a couple of points in your first 3, you'd recover from it. But City, where they are, obviously is a problem for Liverpool in the sense of winning the title because they're a few points behind. But I think it'll be harsh. Look, I wouldn't be worried if I was Liverpool because they've got lots of players to come back.
Roy?
I'd be worried if I was Klopp, what I've seen tonight. I think defensively, very, very casual. Going back to the Fulham game, Van Dijk, look at the game of Fulham, even the other night against Palace, I thought he could have done better. Tonight, we've made the point about he's arguing with James Milner. I know that can happen, but it just seemed a bit more than that. It just seemed a bit more than the normal falling out with a player.
But how many times did we start in a season a bit scruffy, a little bit sloppy?
Man City and these teams weren't around then.
I know, but still, you just like, I just think you got. I think cut them a bit of slack. They've had an unbelievable few years. They get to a Champions League final last season.
Oh, we're not.
It's like
we're not hammering them.
I wouldn't be worried about Liverpool.
But when you set such high standards and you start the season like that, then again you're going to be criticised.
Points in 10 games last season. That's
sorry?
points. They dropped points in 10 games last season. They've done it in the first 3 days.
It's the first game they've lost in about, I don't know, it feels like an absolute age. It's going to happen. This is the type of place, to be fair, where you would lose a game. Because this is the type of ground that can just eat you up if you're not right.
Gary, I totally agree with what you're saying. I find it very difficult. How can you be critical? They've done so much. They're amazing. It's only 3 games into a season. It wasn't losing here. It was the manner and the way they didn't start the game. And it's happened so often now, sort of in the last sort of 10 games. I think it's 7 games in a row they conceded the first goal. That's not a freak. That's a pattern that you need to change very quickly.
And even the 2 draws. The first 2 games, you might say draws. Draws. You can't see Man City drawing a home to Palace, maybe, possibly, or going to Fulham. I just think you can't afford them that sloppy defending, particularly from your best defenders. Van Dijk, he's been really off it.
One thing I would say about Van Dijk is that there was a time maybe last season, certainly before his injury, you wouldn't even see players taking Van Dijk on. They'd refuse it. They'd just pass it. They are now starting to think, I've got a chance here, might just have a go at him. So he's got to sort that out. But I think those players will kick themselves into gear in the next week or 2.
We'll get Jurgen Klopp's take on it very shortly. We will also revisit the goals.
You say probably look at the chances. But what I know of the dressing room is sometimes he doesn't have to go in there. And Nigel made a good point when we were listening to it. You know, it's a very sensitive place, the dressing room now. For a manager to go in and individually pick on a player, it's kind of that doesn't happen really anymore because it's so sensitive. They're on the phone to their agent, always picked on me in front of the players, and all that goes on. What Liverpool do have is they have a captain, and they have James Milner and Virgil van Dijk in the dressing room, and Robertson, who will point fingers at players and who will call out individuals, and he'll let them do it. And I'm kind of thinking, that's what probably would have happened in that dressing room with the emotion. And maybe he's walked out and thought, okay, they've done it themselves, I'll just protect the group and I'll say what I need to say. That's what it looked like to me. There's no way it's not gone off in that dressing room. There's not a chance.
Yeah, he's always protecting his players. That's what the thing I love about Klopp. Whenever he comes in front of the camera, he's always honest. First of all, you know what you get from him, and he's always protecting his players. And he knows it's early stage, it's early in the season. He missed a lot of personnel, what you said as well.
Yeah, a lot of players.
I mean, he's a lot of players missed. If you look at the bench, the majority of the are under 20 kids players. Yeah. So he knows that Liverpool will get into the rhythm. So yeah, I think next week for them, Bournemouth at home. He says it's only a point. I'll say to you right now, they'll get 3 points.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Well, all of a sudden that game becomes a 6-pointer, doesn't it? A little bit of
6-pointer. The derby does.
The derby. What do you put the derby, Jason? 6-pointer. Talking about 6-pointer in the derby.
Wow. They're fighting against relegation.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Erik ten Hag this evening a whole lot happier than he was the last time we saw him. It was an awful, awful day out at Brentford. Tonight, he enjoyed his evening. Good luck to him.
Yeah.
And here he is, talking with beIN Sports, Andy Kerr.
Eric, first win as Manchester United manager, Manchester United's first win against Liverpool in 4 years. This must feel pretty good.
Yeah, of course. Man United stands for winning. And we didn't do that in the first 2 games, and that had certain reasons. But Man United is not for excuses. We have to win, and that standard we have to bring on the pitch every game, and that is a way of life. So it starts in training, it starts every day, and today we showed when we have that spirit, when we act as a team, then we can achieve a lot.
This is a big football club, and big managers have to make big calls. What was behind your thinking to leave out Cristiano Ronaldo and Harry Maguire tonight, and did it pay off?
Now, we need the squad, and we have so many games to cover. And then you look as a manager from game to game, what is the best team to pick. Tonight we thought it was the best team, and they showed it. But in the near future, so coming games, they can also play. And they are great players, amazing players, and they are really important for the squad.
2 of the new players you brought in, Lisandro Martinez and Tiro Malacia, had big nights tonight. What did you make of their performances?
I think as the whole team, they perform really well, they defend well, they defend tough, but also they had composure, and that is one aspect we can definitely improve. When we bring a little bit more composure, a little bit more extra passing, then we can hurt the opponent even more, and that is what we have to work on. But for tonight, I'm satisfied with this.
What about the 2 goal scorers, Jadon Sancho and particularly Marcus Rashford? Looks like he's needed a goal. What will that do for him?
Of course, it's important, and I hope it gives them belief that they are the first defenders. They work really hard for the team in the pressing, but you see also that they can still be effective when we have the ball. And from here on, belief, but also the power has to improve. But it starts what I said. If they have a certain belief in it, that they can do it. And then you can see it can come to an effective game, an effective football, and they score. And I think I'm really happy for them, and it's important for them, definitely.
It's been a very good night, and things just get better because you've just added, arguably, the best defensive midfielder in the world.
Yes, he is, when you see the stats, and we are really happy with that. We said before, we don't want to sign any player, we need the right players, and we are convinced with him we got that. He's so experienced, he won so many trophies, and he will bring that in the team. And we have other champions, and they have to bring it over in the team. That standard, they have to be the guidance for the rest of the team. For some young players who are in the start of their career or in the middle from their career, they not only want to win games, but they want to win trophies, but that's a long road, and then you have to go from game to game, and that demands a way of life. That is what you have to bring in every day in the training.
Is he close to being ready to play?
I cannot say it, but tomorrow is the first day in training. Then we will see. Then we will see how far he is, but I'm sure he will be quickly in the team.
the season starts tonight?
No, that could be always, but we lose 2 games. But tonight we are happy. We win the first game, and in the Premier League, I think there are many clubs who can beat each other. So we need recover from this. That can be a base, and we have to look forward to Saturday, because then it's another big game for us, and we have to be ready for that.
Thank you, Eric. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he deserved his break tonight. Well done, Eric Ten Hag. I thought far more giving this evening than he has been.
I'm very happy. Even though it's from the opposite side, I'm really happy that he won today. As a fellow Dutchman.
Yeah, he deserved that break
he deserved it. For the stick that he was
so.
given.
Yeah.
By the majority of us here in the studio.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm delighted as well. I could be not be more pleased for him. Who are they playing? Liverpool. Oh, I'm delighted they won.
Yeah. The second goal. The change at half-time was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you'd thought, I think, that Anthony Langer had done really well in that first half, but he opts to bring in Martial. This combination of front players had worked in pre-season, Gary.
Yeah, Martial, brilliant pre-season, but that Liverpool right channel, their right side of the defence, was always where there was going to be a problem. Look, this is Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford has been, I don't know what you can say, lacking in confidence. We've not seen him open his legs up and show the confidence that he showed tonight. And look, Alisson is some goalkeeper one-on-one. He's still got a lot to do. But it's the first time that I've seen Marcus Rashford play like he did do when he first come onto the scene, where he was running through on goal regularly, making those runs in behind. And it was a big moment for him. We said about the big moment for Sancho. That was a big moment for Marcus Rashford.
You did fancy when he was going through, though, didn't you? You just thought he looked in the zone. He looked kind of happy with himself.
A fraction of millimetres, wasn't it? He was just onside.
It's brilliant. It's good timing.
Good timing, like you say. But I feel you're best qualified to talk about the finish. It looked like he only had a tiny gap to aim at.
Yeah, but again, I think when you look at Marcus, I think his general performance, when you get into those positions, you just fancied him. I think that's a sign of a good player. Again, considering his confidence must be low. I spoke before the game about his desire. We saw that in abundance tonight, and again, he earned the right.
He was doing this all night, though, Roy.
But that's what he's really good at, and I think that he should simplify his game and do more of that. I know Marcus sometimes drops deeper and he tries to dribble past people. Listen, there's nothing wrong with trying to improve other parts of your game, but also know your strength, your running power, especially when the space in behind it obviously is going to be the counter-attack. Marcus is perfect for that. And he missed a chance there on when he made a great run, which would have been an unbelievable goal. This is a chance here again if you're going to be critical. Brilliant play. But again, you're thinking, shocking from Liverpool, you've got to hit the target. But overall,
but he had the confidence. We had the confidence to try it as well, didn't he? We said before the game, Gary, might one goal just be the difference for him?
Yeah, look, we can't buy into the theory that every single player that's playing for Manchester United is not good enough to play for the club. Some of these players are good enough to play for the club. I made the point earlier on in the week, they've not got the right influences around them. We were very lucky when we came into the first team as young players, the players we had around us that were able to help us through. And the likes of Rashford, Sancho, young players, McTominay, they need something. They need something around them. Look, I don't know what's happened tonight. I have no idea what's happened at Manchester United this week. But what it's shown is that these players can compete and they can do something. They just need more confidence, more, the recruitment needs to improve. They still need one or two players around them.
We mentioned earlier about speaking to the manager about getting quality players in, but he kind of made a point. But you need good characters. Characters is the key. These lads turn up, they're all talented, otherwise they wouldn't be playing at this level. But you need a bit more, I think, to play for the bigger clubs. I think the manager mentioned earlier. You need courage to play at Old Trafford. When the pressure's on and the fans are getting on your back and you're under pressure, that you want the ball. When you don't want it, that's a sign of a really good player. And they showed that tonight, but they have to back it up.
But he also obviously has total faith in Lisandro Martinez. Did we see why this evening alongside Varane?
Yeah, I thought tonight would be his type of game. It'd be more about reading the game, clever runs in behind, being tight and aggressive with people, rather than Liverpool actually playing direct football. Listen, he's obviously a very aggressive player, and this manager knows him better than anyone. But I said, this would be a game where, getting on the ball, can he actually play that pass as we saw there that takes out Liverpool's press? Well, that's what he's about. He's a really aggressive defender. He's a fighter. And as I said, in those first couple of games, he was targeted, but that was never going to be the case against Liverpool or against the Man City. But it still will come, and he will have to deal with that. But what he'll have to be is, he gets a little
awareness
bit of luck
there as well, though, to get back on the line.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would say about Martinez, as I said, we see his clips here, he's really aggressive, reads the game well, gets on the ball well. We heard everything the manager said about him. He knows him better than anybody. But what I would say about him, because of his size, and we've mentioned that, is that that is a problem for him. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Being 5'9" as a centre-back is a problem. But if I think of the best centre-back I ever seen play was Franco Baresi, and he was 5'9", 5'10". Number one, he didn't play in England, but what it means is you to compensate for your lack of height and being good in the air and maybe getting dominated time, you have to be outstanding at everything else, and that's what Baresi was. So Baresi organises the whole team. He's lightning quick. He brings the ball out. So he's almost 10 out of 10 at everything else, and maybe 6 out of 10 in the air. So that's what made him what he was. So for Martinez, tonight he showed that. So he has to be fantastic on the ball. He has to win all his duels on the floor. He has to read the game. Can he organise that defence and be a warrior? And if he's really good at all those are fantastic, it'll compensate for his lack of height. But being 5'9" in the Premier League is something to worry about. Of course it is.
It was a massive... Look, he was absolutely outstanding. Him and Melissa at left back were outstanding tonight. They were unbelievable. However, they'll probably find that game easier tonight than they will do at Southampton and at Leicester next week away from home, because there's no doubt that Melissa is quite small as well. He's smaller than Martinez, I think. They will put the ball into that channel a lot more directly. Liverpool didn't do that tonight, so the challenges will still come.
Is that where he will use the squad, Eric Ten Hag, like he told us he might do?
He may do, and he might have to put Martinez to left back, and he may have to put Harry Maguire back in at centre defence. It'll be interesting to see what he does, but away from home, where against the teams who are a bit more pragmatic, a bit more direct, where the problems will come.
Sorry, but having said that, you don't want to be chopping and changing your back four every week either, and your goalkeeper.
Would that be a problem?
Of course it would be. I think the odd game, you might have to make changes, but you want to get a foundation at the club. We talk about the spine, but you certainly want to settle back four and a goalkeeper that are used to playing together, and that's how he learned his trade. Again, he's new to the Premier League. Chopping and changing every second week is not going to do him any good.
Martinez is here to stay in that position. A Dutch coach bringing a centre-back in with a left foot. Every Dutch coach does that. They just do. That's how they're brought up. That left-sided centre-back has to have a left foot for the passing angles and playing out from the back. Louis van Gaal done it with Daley Blind, another player who maybe physically wasn't maybe right for the Premier League. He was a clever player, really good on the ball. And Martinez will be the same. And I don't think he'll be chopping and changing, because for Ten Hag, that'd be vital to have a left-footed centre-back.
Right, more reactions still to...
It's really difficult for opponents to get out, to play their football. And then when you win ball, you can run behind and you can dribble behind and you can make combinations. And I think football makes fun for them. And that is what I really saw with the two of them. And when they get reward by a goal, and that is, for them, is that really magnificent and great.
And what do you need to do now to make sure that you get the same level of performance from your team at the weekend against Southampton and going forward, and that there's no regression to what we saw against Brighton and Brentford?
I start with the mindset that they understand that this attitude, that is what they have to bring, and it starts in the preparation. Of course, we have to enjoy the first 24 hours, but then go with your focus to the next game, because every game is a battle, and there are no easy wins in the Premier League, and that is what this team has to understand. Therefore, we need leadership, and we bring that. We have really good footballers. If they construct their team, then the team performance will be good, and then we have a chance to win a lot of games.
Eric, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on the win tonight.
Please.
You certainly hear what it means to the Manchester United manager to get his first win, and in that manner. They got the lead, of course, after 16 minutes. We talked about the importance of the start, getting the first goal, and it was some finish as well from Jadon.
I love this goal. As Maka said, if some Brazilian player or a Spanish player had done this, would have been eulogising over it, but it was great composure. And this is what we expect. He's bought for a lot of money, this kid, and he's took him a little bit of time to settle in, but look at the composure there, putting Milner down. Also, in the same movement, he actually puts the keeper down. I remember a player called Romario doing similar things years ago for Barcelona. It's a brilliant goal. I'm so pleased for the lads as well, because I'm pleased for all of them tonight, because they've had so much stick, including the manager. He's coming at a really difficult time, and he's almost like he's been hung out to dry a little bit for them first two games. It must be a lonely place for him, so to come, get a great win as he has done. It's brilliant. You've got to give him credit. He's changed the tactic as well. He's come with his philosophy of playing out from the back. Manchester United, if you look down the years, they've never been that type of team. They've never put our two centre-halves 10 yards away from the goal kick and tried to play out. They've never done that. They've always been a direct, not just massively booting the ball forward. I mean, they have a plan, but they've always played in the opposition half, being aggressive, getting against people. And I hope that's the catalyst now for what comes along, and not just against these great teams. Because against Liverpool, your Southamptons all these teams are a lot better now, and United, I don't think they have them types of players to play like Barcelona did, to play like Manchester City do. I just don't think they have that quality, Steve.
Yeah, and Liverpool fans will be aghast how they defended tonight. Virgil van Dijk not coming out for the goal. You see him here, he's got this tendency to always run back away from the player who's attacking and not have to make a challenge, and he was...
Jürgen, obviously not what you were looking for. What's your thoughts on the game and how it unfolded?
Yeah, how it unfolded. So they were really aggressive in the beginning. It was clear. So it was absolutely clear what will happen. But then reality shows when you are ready, or if you are really ready. And I think in the beginning they were more aggressive than us in these kind of challenges. They got then, I think they hit the post in a. So we were like passing around, stuff like this. It was a hectic game, obviously, and then they had the first chance, then they scored a goal, and then we took over, if you want. Then we played the game we wanted to play, more or less. Unlucky with situations, especially around set pieces, I think. I don't know how the one ball didn't go in. In a game like this, against an opponent like United, that would be obviously very helpful if you could score in this moment, going 1-1 in half time or whatever. We wanted... Actually, we showed the boys two situations where we did really well and where we just didn't arrive in the right moment in the box, stuff like this, where we were really passing around in the half spaces where they couldn't grab Bobby, where they couldn't, if we used him in that moment, we had the next midfielder free. So football stuff. And you can see the second one, that doesn't help. And then we score ours, and then it's a hectic game with a lot of interruptions, stuff like this. So, yeah, definitely not the result we wanted.
You said they were aggressive to begin with. Were they sharper than you at the opening start of the game?
Maybe they were. That's of course not right, but how I said, when it calmed down, we were immediately there. We had extreme number of shots for an away game at United. So how can I say it? We should use then more of these moments. Obviously, if you do that. Again, second half was again I think a fantastic save of De Gea, if I'm right, and unlucky with other situations. So you score in a moment like this, and the game turns. We were there for that, but in the end we had not enough time, or then power, not enough power anymore in the end. That's the reason.
Something we're not used to seeing either. There seems to be disharmony on the pitch. Quite a few of your players arguing with each other. Was there a problem there?
Yeah, that's how it is when you are in a game like this. When you're fighting, then these guys, they talk to each other, and sometimes the sound is not 100% right, but it's always the same. It was never different. It was always on the pitch. This is a different conversation than usually. That's it.
You always talk to us after the game. You talk about whether or not you liked the performance or not of your side. What did you feel tonight?
Well, not perfect, of course. We lost the game, so it's a result game. That's the most important thing. But it's, the situation United was in, it was clear how they get out of the blocks. And I think we were ready for it, but not 100%. So, but after, again, so I think we all agree in a moment when we have this one situation where we score, where we equalize, this game can change completely. But we didn't use it, and we have to admit that that's then in that moment not what we want, and then you have to keep chasing the game, and that's never exactly what you want to do. You want to be in control, stuff like this, and then when you are in a rush a little bit because you're 2-0 down, then things crosses. You miss-hit crosses or whatever, or passes here or there, and against the counter-attacking threat they obviously are. That makes it really difficult. Second goal was both goals were harsh to take, but the second especially was, I think, really close with offside, that he was onside. But yeah, we have to take that now and work with it.
For different reasons, do you think you've not found your rhythm completely so far this season? We're only 3 games in.
yeah, that's obvious, I would say. That's obvious. We are in a tricky situation injury-wise. That's how it is. We get through the week with 14, 15 senior players available. We have to make sure that nobody of them gets injured now and during the week because there's no real options left anymore. That's what we try. And even with our situation, I think that's a problem. With playing a little bit better, a little bit more convinced about what we do, we should have won this game. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's how I see it. And now we lost it, and now we go from here.
How concerned are you about 2 points from 9?
How concerned? I'm not sure. I'm concerned about our situation. It's not easy in the moment, but it's how it is. So we deal with it, and we prepare now for Bournemouth and then Newcastle and then Everton. So that's how it is. And yeah, we can play better. We know that, but we had a lot of good moments as well, good performances as well today. In the end, we lost anyway, and that's what we have to accept for tonight. And from tomorrow on, we will fight against it.
Thanks, Jürgen.
Welcome.
Let's see how the stats break down. Liverpool had the more shots, 17-12, and more on target as well. But Manchester United had that higher XG. Touches in opposition box, 47 from Liverpool. That's actually the most by a visiting team here at Old Trafford on Opta record. And that 70% possession they had here was the second most that Opta have ever recorded by a visiting team at Old Trafford. We should have won the game, Jamie, says Jurgen Klopp.
Did he say that? Did he say they should have won the game?
They might have won the game.
Yeah, but I didn't say should have won the game. But Liverpool didn't deserve to win this game. If they'd got sort of the 2-2 back towards the end, it would have been a great point for them, but it wouldn't have felt justice within the stadium. I mean, sometimes we look at stats and we look at them and use them a lot, of course we do, but when you look at those stats, if you didn't watch the game, you think Liverpool must have dominated Man United. It didn't feel like that watching it. And when a team goes in front, 1-0 in front or 2-0 in front, we know how they play. They'll drop off and say, come on, break us down, especially against Liverpool, because you know at this moment they're having problems trying to break teams down, and you can always get at them on the counter-attack. That is a big problem for Liverpool at the moment. Too often teams are running through a goal. We saw it in the first half. I think Alanga hit the post. Rashford had one, but he scored. So whenever I was watching that, even when Liverpool were in possession, I still felt like Manchester United was still more dangerous, even though at time when Liverpool had the ball. And that was for the game. Yes, the stats maybe tell a different story, but Liverpool didn't deserve anything from this game.
They got the goal back, though, through Mo Salah. Did that give Man United some moments of concern towards the end?
Yeah, of course. That's the nerves would have kicked in. And it was a really sharp finish. And again, United were they nervous and edgy? They had done well, but Salah is a lot, he's sharp there. And you're thinking, what, 10 minutes to go? But United kept their composure, kept their concentration levels. Nice strike on target, keeper done well to save it. But Salah was sharp, but obviously not enough.
We heard Jurgen Klopp talking about the injury problems, and we've addressed them as well here. We've also talked a lot about Manchester United needing to sign players. But what about Liverpool if they're going to continue to challenge Manchester City? Does Jurgen Klopp need some help before the end of this window?
No, I mean, Liverpool need a midfield player. Not in terms of the numbers in the squad or to beef the squad up. They need someone to go in and play. And that player, Liverpool feel, is not available right now. And I would stick with what Liverpool do, where they don't panic, they don't do things because they've got to go and get someone. Jurgen Klopp's not daft. He knows when he looks at his first choice midfield of Thiago, Fabinho and Henderson, it's a really good midfield, but they're all over 30. And that's not ideal for any team, certainly when you want to play as intense as Liverpool do. But they've got lots of numbers there. Milner can come in there, Keita, Curtis Jones. But you're talking about real top quality, Liverpool need a midfield player. If it was available now, Liverpool would buy him, I can assure you. But they've obviously got something maybe lined up for next summer, they feel then. And that's what Liverpool have notoriously done. They've done it with Van Dijk. They waited for him when they couldn't get him. They didn't go and buy another centre-back. So Jurgen Klopp will think, that's the plan. That's how we go about things. It's proved successful and we'll do the same again. But there's no doubt Liverpool need more in midfield. Liverpool's midfield is the one glaring sort of part of that team that really stands out that you think can't go up against Manchester City when you see the quality they have in there.
Like got something
yeah, no, I was just obviously agreeing. I think as well, you look at the Liverpool midfield, and particularly, and the manager of Liverpool, Klopp, made the point there. We had some good moments, we got in good positions, but they didn't show that quality, which is surprising with this Liverpool team over the last few years. I think they're outstanding, but they didn't show enough moments tonight of that real quality.
Thank you very much indeed. Final thoughts. Gary, are you allowing yourself to get excited about the impact that Erik ten Hag has had, certainly over the last 9 days?
This is Manchester United. No, I'm not going to... No.
Are you tempering your excitement and your expectation?
To be honest with you, do you know something? That, you know, I was actually really proud at half-time. I don't know why I am. I shouldn't be. Because, that's the first time I've seen Old Trafford properly as Old Trafford can be for a long time. And when it gets like that, it gives you that feeling of why you are a United fan, why you come here. And all those fans have gone home tonight absolutely buzzing. So I'm happy because of that. But no, this is not a moment to get carried away, because the players, to be fair, have been inconsistent. The club still lack a recruitment strategy. We don't know what they're going to do for the rest of the window. And then there's still that looming problem that exists above, where tonight most of the fans responded to the first goal by singing that the family needs to leave. So there's still those sort of clouds above. But Eric Ten Hag and the players tonight have shown what Manchester United can be, and they've got a little bit of a glimmer of hope.
Roy, will you be skipping away in a buoyant mood this evening?
No, I've not done that for many a year. No, but I think a huge night for the club. But the players have to, I keep repeating myself, the players have to back it up now. You can't just turn up every few weeks because it's Liverpool at home. You got to do it, obviously, away from home. Back it up over the weekend and take it from there.
Jamie, Liverpool have got 3 of their next 4 at home. Time to start winning.
Yeah, they will. They're too good for that not to happen, and they'll get back on track sooner or later. But they need to do it sooner, because if Liverpool got any aspirations of, as they did before the ball was kicked, of winning the title this season. They missed out on a point last season, so it has to be the aim to try and catch City. But they're giving themselves a lot to do. And as I said, we know the quality of City, and we know the quality of this Liverpool team, and they will get back to winning ways and get themselves back towards the top of the table. But you can't give this, City team too much sort of a lead, because it's very difficult to come back at them.
Are we above you?
Yeah, it won't be for long, lad, don't worry.
3 games in. Don't have your moment just yet, Gary. I thought you went a bit early in commentary as well, actually.
Go early.